Toking up all
Three dummies talk about nationals.
toking up nationals from Denver.
Oh, toking up.
All the buzz about nationals in Denver. All the
Mile High National Club.
Hey everybody, welcome to Curling Nation Season 3, Episode 8, Curling High in Denver. We're going to talk all about the U.S. men's and women's nationals that were in Denver, Colorado.
In case you didn't know where Denver was.
In case you know what Denver was. It's in the middle of the country somewhere.
State capital.
State capital. It's super high. It's great. I was there streaming nationals. I was pushing buttons, falling rocks. Mike and Craig were both here watching every single game, I'm sure. But first, we need to thank our sponsor, Motus Financial. If you need a point of sale credit card system or online store help set up, motuscc.com for all your credit card processing needs and point of sale. Mason will get you hooked up if you need your curling club, your business. If you need one system or 100, Mason knows what he's doing. So contact him, motuscc.com.
Well, hopefully not 100. That would be that's a big ask.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd get it done, but that's a big ask.
He'll get it done.
Okay.
Also, we got end cards for sale if you want. Contact the show, curlingnation at curlingnetwork.com. We can get you some cards. It's fun. So, Joel.
Yeah. Mike.
Craig.
Nailed it.
All right. Nationals.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun.
Yeah, you were there. Well, let's talk about your experience first. You were, as I like to say, running the ones and twos, which is a DJ term for turntable 1 and turntable 2, but I like to liken it to pushing buttons. How was your experience?
It was a lot of work. I got out there on Friday. John Benton and Cameron Rittenauer of Curling Stadium were already out there getting stuff set up.
Yeah, that was the first year that Curling Stadium brought the nationals to the masses.
They did. We streamed every sheet. There was a hiccup the first game. There was a network switch that was
made things all really bad.
And
we'll just leave it at that.
It was causing a lot of lag. I couldn't see what I was doing because the lag was so bad, and in turn the stream was bad. So, but we diagnosed it, figured out it was a switch, got that part swapped out, and the rest of the time it was. I think it ran pretty well.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. I think the coverage was great. Way to go! Congrats to you and the rest of the Curling Stadium production team.
I think it was set up pretty well. It was set up. You can stream. Every game was streamed. One game had commentary and player mics on it. The rest of the games we had a side camera that was pointed out that did a pretty good job also at picking up ambient sounds. So there was some ambient sounds on the non-main streamed sheets.
Yeah. I overall thought it was very good. I'll be honest for the show today.
Honesty. That's weird.
I like to feel like I'm honest most shows, but I thought the audio struggled at times. I thought they lost some mics and it lacked at times with the players. And I know that John had a real nice post on Facebook about, you walk before you run, and they didn't do too much. So I think, that's definitely a spot where I thought they could improve. But overall, I thought the coverage was really good. I thought Tyler did a great job. And his cavalcade of characters, if you will.
Yeah.
So
here,
it was great. I'd like to get out there, hopefully, if they'd have me.
Yeah.
Do some games.
Here's a funny story.
Let's hear a funny story.
Here's a funny story.
Yeah. So the microphones we used, they were these little Rode 2 mics. Okay. And the packs on them are really small. They're small, maybe 2 inches square.
Okay.
This is the player mics.
Player mics.
Okay.
And they got a little lavalier mic you plug into it. Or you can not plug in the lavalier mic and just have it have it clipped on the player, and it has microphones on there that it'll pick up a lot.
Okay.
Schuster blew out the mics twice on us. He was so loud on the ice.
Got it.
There's a safety mechanism inside the transmitter that if it got too loud, it would cut off.
Huh.
So
and then it cuts off for the game. Like
it cuts off for the game.
Oh, okay.
And it cuts off because both players were on the same channel.
Okay.
It blew out the whole channel. So
Got it.
So you have to do a hard reset on the transmitter part.
Sure.
So
I mean,
so for two of the games we lost.
Yeah.
Schuster team audio.
Again, I think it was minimal. Generally it was pretty good. But
but Matt was more upset that his witty banter didn't get on.
Yeah,
on the broadcast.
I mean, it's like from watching, and I know that the budget isn't super huge for curling stadium, but like when you watched the Brier, the Scotties, or the Worlds, and they get all that clear audio, like it's one of the few sports in the world where you get it, like in game. NFL Films does a great job of like they'll do these bits and pieces where they get great audio, but you don't get that during the game.
Right.
It's always afterwards. They'll show a clip.
Right.
Afterwards.
Yeah, they'll show a clip afterwards, or you'll get something here and there. But I just, if I had a critique, that was my critique. That like the audio kind of struggled at times, and it was, a bummer. But you could still watch the game and know what was going on, obviously. So, I mean, yeah, overall, would recommend.
Yeah, I think there's we got some lessons learned and figured out what was okay and what worked well, and
we'll get better.
Yeah, we've got room to do better next time.
Is there any thought to if the feature game ends early, switching commentators to talk on a different sheet, or is that not possible?
That's possible. It would have to be not how we had it set up.
Got it.
Because the commentary was routed through my computer, which went out on the mainstream. The other streams were going off of a different computer, but the audio was on the network, so we could have added commentary on the other ones, but we just didn't.
Sure. And obviously, like the commentators, they don't necessarily want to jump over to another game either. And, especially a game they haven't been watching the whole time where they might sound like an idiot, or, they're jumping in and they start talking about something, and that's not how
it's set up.
It's been the setup's been going. But there was a couple times throughout the week where I was watching where I know that the main one ended. The main one was done, and there was still something exciting going on, and maybe it would have been nice to have somebody talking about it as well, but I can understand how that's not.
When your talent does 17 games and they can get an extra half an hour off because the game ended after 8 instead of 10. Like,
it's a big.
You're gonna jump on that.
It's a big statement, though, calling Tyler talent.
Well, finger quotes talent.
Sure. Okay. Fair. No, I think he did a good job, and
also I get super excited when the main one ends early because then my job's
right. It's not just
there you go.
The talent; it's the actual talent. Okay, that's fair. No, I thought that the coverage was good. Let's talk about the curling now.
Okay.
Yeah. So, spoiler alert: Schuster in tab 1.
Yep.
It's not a spoiler. I don't.
Not really. I mean, if you haven't watched it at this point,
I mean,
tough.
It was a little bit of sarcasm.
The game's out there still. Can they go out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can watch them on
They're on the USA Curling
for eternity, baby.
YouTube page. Okay.
They're on the YouTube page.
Go out and watch them.
I think the ice at the beginning of the week. I think the players hadn't quite figured out the ice yet. I think there were a few tricky spots. Schuster dropped the first game to Schmitty. Schmitty played. They played well.
You pronounced Jared Allen wrong. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Jared Allen and the football all-stars.
Jared Allen and the rest of the curlers.
They played pretty well.
Excuse me.
Phone's
We're not
ringing.
professional here.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, what's your take? I don't have a very nice take, so.
I think that you don't have a nice take. Like you're gonna say bad things about people, our friends in the curling world. Jerk. I'm gonna say nice things.
You say nice things.
I think that Schuster. We'll start with the men. Schuster and team were very, very, very impressive in the playoff round.
Agreed.
I think they came out a little flat.
Maybe I didn't see some of the beginning of the week. I was following the results, but not necessarily the games as they happened. But man, I watched the 2 playoff games that they played in, and they were both very well played games, but also like their timing, like they never missed a big shot.
Schuster found another gear.
They found a gear, and they made every shot they had to, and they made Casper's team look worse than they were
Casper's team
in
played
those
well.
2 playoff games because of all the pressure they put on them at the right times in those games. And like, even if they had a bad shot here or there, it just paled in comparison to all the good shots that they made Casper's team make that were hard. Like, I mean, like John and those guys, they played outstanding, but they also kept setting themselves up with the easier shot in comparison to what Casper was dealing with. And like they did great. And in the same breath, I'm going to say that I think it's very exciting to see Casper's team do very well.
I agree. We did a little bit when you were in Quebec. We talked a little bit about nationals when Becca was on the show, and I suspected that they were going to get tired, and they certainly did not show that over the course of the week, or they would be fatigued, or they just wouldn't perform. And they did not show that. So
no, they did great. And like the way they ran through that round robin,
they finished round robin number one.
Yep.
And a lot of their wins were pretty convincing wins too on the scoreboard. So they like, it was good. It was good to see another team in the mix that
A new team
that can challenge.
Yeah.
I think that I watched Dunham a bit as well, and I didn't watch a lot of them. But I mean, they very easily could have been in the 1-2 game. And they must have had a really good week, and they played well, and it's not just the Schuster and Dropkin show.
Agreed.
Currently.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Schuster got some help to get into the 1-2 game.
Yeah.
Dunham, I think, had to win to
If Dunham would have beat Casper in his
Dunham
last
wins.
game, then
I think they
It would have been Dunham and Casper.
It would have been Dunham Casper 1-2,
Yeah.
and then Corey Dropkin 3-4.
yeah.
Dropkin, Schuster, 3-4, yeah.
Dropkin Schuster 3-4.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there was Schuster and Dropkin both dropped games in the round robin that I don't think a lot of people kind of expected them. Didn't really expect that to happen as much. But they sharpened the rocks, I think, Wednesday.
I think that's what I heard.
Got a little more swing. And then I think teams started to adapt to that more, and I think there were a lot more shots made after they sharpened the rocks.
Got it.
For all teams, I think.
Overall, I thought Nationals was good, and congratulations to Schuster and Casper, and who was it Dropkin? Dropkin's third, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I watched mostly the feature game because I don't particularly care for just watching curling without commentary. I'll do it on occasion. On the featured game, and I will preface this with, I know some of these are new teams, and I know a lot of these teams don't play on arena ice regularly. I thought the shot making was sloppy until the playoffs. I felt like there were a lot of games where there were shots where, you know, you could really put some away or really solidify a big end, and the shots didn't get made. And it was just like, these are our 8 best teams, and they're missing these shots. And a lot of them were like overthrows.
Sure.
You know, all these teams should have good sweepers. I don't know. That's just what I was witnessing. And maybe I go back and be more or less critical. But just watching the game, it was like, okay, they got to make this hit and roll. And instead of hitting and rolling in, they hit and roll out. Like they threw it too hard, or they threw it wide, or and the
that could be
the ice conditions were challenging. Like, the best teams are going to figure out those ice conditions. And it wasn't like they were missing these shots in the first end, as they're missing these shots in the 8th end.
Right. So that could be slightly a factor of you watching the feature game instead of the top team all the time. You know, because there is, you know, as much as
we want to say that they're all the top
compliment everybody,
teams.
you know, there is still a big drop off in the top few teams in each gender compared to the next teams.
But some of that was feature games and Schuster's team missing shots.
Sure.
And Dropkin's team missing shots.
Fair enough.
So that's just what I saw. And the cream of the crop rose to the top, and the teams, the playoffs, like you said, were great. There were not as many missed shots in the playoffs. 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
That's just what I noticed earlier in the week. And I know some of these teams are new together, and some of them don't play on arenas, but there are 8 best teams.
Sure.
That was my take, and I felt like that was the same on both the men's and the women's side.
Okay.
So, if that is being mean, I apologize.
Don't apologize to me.
I
wasn't
apologizing to you, but I mean,
where was Nationals last year? Was that at a club or was that in an arena?
Well, they're all in arenas now, I think.
Wausau.
That was the bubble. That's hard to.
Wausau? I was there. Like was that a year ago?
No, that was a couple years ago.
2 years ago, I believe. I would have to go back and remember where they were.
Whatever, doesn't matter.
I don't remember.
Women. Tab dodged a couple bullets.
Yep.
Yes.
I think they were very fortunate to win that 1-2 game.
The 1-2 game, yes.
But
comes back to
the 1-2 game. Like it ended up like 11-10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
defense optional.
Yeah, I didn't watch the game because I was streaming the other game, but I heard they were just trading shot for shot, back and forth.
Yeah, and a lot of that, from what I saw, and I was kind of flipping between the two games, and like that one, I'll kind of agree with Mike a little bit. There was a little bit of sloppy stuff going on. Like a lot of those points came from a bad shot.
Okay.
Not necessarily a great shot that set it up. Maybe a good shot to capitalize on it, but there was a few too many misses in that game probably. But like I thought the final was a good game from both teams. I think that Strauss is going to be a spectacular team, and they still. They make a few mistakes on that the seasoned teams don't, I guess is how I would phrase it. Like if you have to roll inside, they might nose it or they might roll outside, or if a draw can be still really good. If it's 3 feet short, it goes a foot heavy. Things like that, and that comes with age and experience. But
Strauss in the ninth, like she puts her second draw like a foot higher. Tab's double is really hard.
Yeah, things like that, and but I mean, what a fantastic shot Tab made.
Yeah.
But it was like I'm very enthusiastic, I guess, about the caliber of the next teams in line, I guess.
100%. Yeah, keeping in mind that the 2 teams that finished second at Nationals were both 25 years of age or younger.
Yeah.
Is good for at least our top, excelling teams that are coming up through the ranks.
So I have speaking of age.
Yep.
With the Casper team loss,
okay,
I believe that ensures that even if they were to win next year, the average age will be higher than the average age of my team when we won in 2000. So we are still guaranteed. I am still guaranteed to be the youngest team to ever win the men's national championship based on average age.
At least for a few more years.
Until some other new team comes along.
Got it. Unless that Samson team just takes a huge leap next year.
But I can't guarantee. Like, we'd have to do some math, but I'm pretty sure looking at I'm like 100% sure that if they would have beat us this year, or if they would have won this year, they would have beat our youngest average age record.
Books, at least a couple more years, right, Craig?
Now, I think that next year, with an extra year on each of them, I think that they're going to be too old. Casper would still be younger than I would be for another year or two as the skip, but the rest of his team, the overall average age of the team will be higher than it was with my team.
Let's fact check that.
So
when you walk into the arena, like we're walking in on like the home end or on the away end, and our broadcast booth was on the home end, so we had to walk all the way around. So when we first walked in, they were doing practice, and I saw one of the coaches out there for the women's team, and I thought, I saw Earl Morris's hat. I thought, what poser is out here stealing Earl Morris's hat out here? And then I got closer, like, oh wait, that's Earl Morris.
Who was he coaching? I saw him there too.
Anderson.
Okay,
he was coaching Anderson's team.
Anderson, but like I spotted his hat from across the arena before I saw, like, oh, it's actually Earl.
I had to text Joel when Anderson was the featured game for one of the games, and they were showing, you could see the coaches, and I was like, I thought the same thing. I'm like, what dingling looks like Earl Morris? And I sent a text to Joel. I'm like, is that Earl Morris? He's like, yeah, it is Earl Morris. And he just told me the same story that he just told.
I almost texted him when I was watching a Anderson game when she was not the feature game, but they called a timeout, and I saw this guy walk out. I'm like, well, that looks like Earl Morris, but who the hell is this coach?
Why is Earl Morris?
And,
who is this coach that Earl Morris hat?
Yeah, who's this guy who's trying to look like Earl Morris? The same deal, but like it was a non-feature game, so I couldn't there was no commentary saying Earl and the camera angle in that situation was from the far end, so like there was no close-up. I couldn't tell it was him. It wasn't until the next day that I realized
that it
actually was him when they were on a feature game that I was watching. So
too funny. Too funny.
Yeah.
How was the arena in general? Was it the finals? Finals were decent crowds, eh?
Yeah, the men played at noon. The women played at 4.
Yeah.
The men's final was more full than there was for the women's, but certainly the best crowd we had all week.
Nice.
For those games. So they had just had so the Denver Coliseum hosts a stock show.
Yeah.
Which for those people that don't know, there's animals everywhere.
Yeah.
Farm animals. And so there's a time lapse out there that we put together about them finishing up the stock show, cleaning up all the dirt, and making ice. And I was impressed by how well they cleaned it.
Nice. Didn't smell?
Well, it did. To start.
Just at the beginning.
Just the beginning.
Just the beginning.
So while we were setting up, I had been told that they used the Zamboni drain. They used that for animal poop.
No, fun.
And apparently that got clogged. They had to bring out 3 different size augers. They started off with 1 auger, tried to get it. It didn't work. So they got a bigger auger. That didn't work. So they had to get a 3rd auger to clean out the drain. So the poop would actually go down the drain. So apparently when they were setting up the ice, it still smelled like a barn in there.
Fun.
Nice.
When I walked in on Friday before the event, I could barely tell.
Got it.
But I could tell because
you knew?
I knew.
Yeah.
If I didn't know, like,
Got it.
it was fine. So like the smell went away. I was surprised. I didn't hear a lot. I think on the feature sheet, all the times we streamed, I think I saw like maybe 2 picks.
Yeah.
So
And that just
like,
happens in a game too. So.
But for having a stock show, having a place filled with dirt and animals, like,
Yeah.
to not have it picked
Went well. I'll tell you what chapped my ass a little bit. I don't know
What chaps your ass, Mike?
Well,
What chaps your ass?
Lots of things, but one of the days, like outside, what was it? Tuesday, where they had 4 draws. It was 8, 12,
Correct. That was Tuesday.
4, and 8.
That was a very
Right?
long. There was a very long day for me.
Every other day, it was 9, 2, and 7, except for one day when I tuned in at 8 o'clock, expecting the game to start, and it was halfway through, and it was 9, 2, and 6 for some reason. I have no idea why they started the game at 6 one day.
That was
instead
Friday.
of 7. That was what day?
That was Friday. Was 9/26.
It was? I thought it was 3. Whatever. I mean, it was one of the days, and I was just like,
most of the 3 games days were 9/27.
Yeah, I know it was 9/27, and I was
then
expecting
Friday was
9/27 every day, except for the one.
9/26.
Yeah, why? Why did they change the time by an hour? It didn't make sense to me. I mean, yes, I could have gone online and looked at the thing, but it kind of like 9/27 seems to make sense to me. I tuned in and it was halfway through, and I was like, well, apparently I'm not going to watch this as long. So I don't know. Just didn't make sense. I don't know why.
I don't know.
Just fine. Be that way. Didn't make sense to me. Chapped my ass a little bit.
I think that so the tiebreakers I think would have been Saturday morning.
Would they have tried to cram one in that night? Is that why they did it at 6? Maybe.
I don't think so because there would
have only been one tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Regardless.
So the Saturday game didn't start till like 2.
Yeah.
So there was plenty of time in the morning on
Yeah,
Saturday.
it was like 9 o'clock for tiebreakers if they needed to. I was like, all right, well, fine.
It could have been to give the teams a little more time to turn around
I guess.
and play, but
I get it.
on the men's side and the women's side, we were all sure we were heading for a tiebreaker.
That's what always happens. Everybody thinks there's going to be a bazillion tiebreakers.
Well,
and
like
then
going into the last game, there was one scenario that had to happen, and it depended on 3 different games, and it worked,
and they all went the right way.
And they all went the right way for us.
Boom.
See, I don't
On the
know
men's
why
side.
you say it went the right way for us. That makes it sound like you're lazy and you don't want things to happen for the best for the players.
Had a long week, Craig.
Well, I think
tired.
that that's the wrong way to phrase that. Like, there were no tiebreakers this year. End of story. Not, thank God there was no tiebreakers. Woo!
Well, Craig,
Ice guys didn't have to get up early or stay late. The TV people, like, what about these poor players? That really wanted to play another game. Now you're like
what
just
player
dismissing
wants to
them.
play more? Well,
all of them that missed out on the tiebreaker by a game.
All of them that want to make it to the playoffs.
Everyone that missed out on the tiebreaker.
Well, Craig, once you start running events, you will understand.
I don't care. I play in these events, and you sound like the WCF who just wants to get these things scheduled and done, and they don't even care about the players. They just want it to finish on time and with the least amount of work. Like, screw that. I want the best teams to have the best chance to get to the final. And this year it worked out. But, like, if there's a tiebreaker, that shouldn't be looked at as a negative thing. It should be looked at as a positive. There's more curling. Woo!
Bonus curling.
Yeah.
I was already very tired by that.
I understand. I'm sure everybody was. But, like, actively cheering against certain teams or for other teams to avoid the tiebreaker scenario, I do not think is a good look by an association or
I was cheering
people working for.
It was not outward. I was cheering inside myself.
It has been outward in many situations by ice people, associations, ticket people, and it's frustrating.
Ticket people.
Yeah, well,
because they don't want to come and sell tickets.
They don't think anybody's going to show up, which I don't necessarily disagree with. Like, people aren't. There's not going to be very many people there, but the players still want to play and they want to have their fair crack at it. And it is what it is. If it, like, I think the bigger issue is like eliminating the possibility of tiebreakers.
That's a
like that's the main issue, I guess, that I have a problem with. In this whole discussion is like, we're not going to have tiebreakers because it's a pain. Like,
that's ridiculous.
I do not think tiebreakers should go away.
Right.
I also agree.
Great. If you want to cheer against them inside yourself, then I suppose that's okay. But as long as the possibility is still there that if it so happens, we're not going to just determine who gets to play and who doesn't based on a draw shot challenge, like the stupid WCF rule.
Correct.
Let's talk about that for just a second, because I'm pissed about. No, that chaps my ass, Mike. A few years back, Olympic qualifying event.
Yep.
There was 4 teams tied for second place.
The one in Fusen?
No, it was the one after that.
Okay. The one that
would have qualified to go to Korea. The teams that were trying to get to Korea for the Olympics in 18.
Yeah.
There was 4 teams tied for second place.
Mm-hmm.
Record-wise.
Yeah.
One of them got to play 2 games, win either of them, and you go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And one of them, maybe even 2 of them, were just plain eliminated. They had the same record.
I don't remember that, but yeah, I believe you.
And because they're draw shot.
Because they're draw shot, yeah. You can't.
And like
that
come on.
That should be seeding. That should be seeding for playoffs, if anything.
Yeah, and just so dumb. And like the whole tiebreaker
trying to
format thing that they have going on at mixed doubles worlds is stupid. Where they qualify into the final 16. And then you can lose your first game in the round of 16. Like, I mean, you could be undefeated.
Yeah.
Get to the round of 16, lose your first game, and the very best you can do after playing 3 more games is 9th place.
Yeah.
So you could go through that event and at like whatever 11-1 or 10-1.
Yeah.
And be
9th place.
9th place, and some team with 3 or 4 losses can be, first or second.
Yeah.
So once they get into the playoffs, it's just a straight bracket.
Yeah. At mixed doubles, and that's how they determine which teams get to go to Worlds or get to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And so like that's why Plies and Vicky had to go to the challenge to get in.
Yeah. Yep.
Because the year before, Polo and Tab, they just lost the wrong game. If they would have won one more game, if they would have won like their 3rd to last game or 4th to last game, and then lost all the rest,
they'd have been
they
fine.
still would have had enough points to get in the U.S. into the Olympics, as opposed to losing the game that they did and then winning a couple more and finishing lower than, even though they had a better or whatever. They had a better record or worse record. It's just dumb. So
I
don't want to get into that too much because the chaps my ass.
The chaps here. Maybe we should rename this. Maybe we should rename this episode.
Yeah.
Want to know what chaps my ass?
All right. Streaming in general across so USA curling overall, big thumbs up to the way that they did this and handled it. I think it was a good thing that everybody should appreciate, even if there were some technical glitches or nitpicky things. You got to watch every single game if you wanted to, no matter what team was playing.
You could go back. And you can still go back and watch them again if you want to. I agree. For their first go at it, whatever. I'll look at Joel and say that.
I was a part of the
thought
crew.
it was
It's not my company, but I was a part of the crew that Curling Stadium and I think for the most part John Benton put together the technical side of it, and then I came in and helped with the production side of it game by game.
Yeah, I think it's John Benton, Cam Rittenauer.
Yep.
I know Jerry Gertz, I think, has a little part of it. Jed Brundage, I think, maybe has a little part of it. But yeah, he had a nice Facebook post about walk before you run, and I don't think they wanted to do too much or get too over their skis, so to speak. Yep. And I thought it was nice. The video was pretty good. The audio was good on and off. It's what USA curling fans want, is to be able to see our nationals.
Yeah.
And
that
they did that.
Going back to a discussion from the beginning of the season, let's call it season 3, episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
There's a benefit that USA curling membership provides you. Or that's something that, and it's just of the long list of things that people like to bitch about. Here's one that they don't get to bitch about anymore, in my opinion.
I like that
because because USA Curling paid for Curling Stadium to show up and do it
right
without making any money at it. So yes, we had sponsors. The event had sponsors. And the sponsors paid to be on the stream. I don't know how much that brought in, but I don't know if it's. I don't know if it. I would be surprised if it even covered the cost.
No, I don't think there's any chance. But
I don't think there's any chance it does.
It's something that people should recognize before they complain about everything. So
yeah.
But there was a lot of streaming across Canada the last couple weeks as well, with all the provincial championships. And I, for one, thought it was fantastic, just in general, that I could, at any point in the last 2 weeks, basically just flip on the old smart TV or computer and find a game that was happening live from somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
And, there's a lot of really good curling and a lot of, good enough production value.
I was just going to say, there are various degrees of quality. Manitoba seems to have basically a network setup. But then you go to, I think Curling Stadium, did Edmonton, both the men's and the women's. But, our buddy John Cullen was out in BC probably about a month ago and did streaming coverage. It's various degrees and qualities, but it's there. It's for people to watch. Does it really matter as long as you can relatively see what's going on?
Yeah.
No.
It's good. It's sure, there's no... The audio isn't perfect like it is on TSN, and there's not the replays and whatever, but, it's free.
Not everybody. Yeah.
There's no province or it would be very hard for USA Curling to put on a production like a TSN quality production.
Yeah.
That is
because that's at least six figures to get
Right.
To get a crew that size and a broadcast truck
Yeah.
and a professional broadcast crew, that's going to be at least six figures just for them to show up.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you got to sell ads.
And as much as we
make it up.
as much as we like curling, they're not going to get the crowds to support or rationalize
You're going to
that.
need $1,000 per viewer.
Yeah, that's
to
a lot.
break even. And
So
that's
I
not
agree.
happening.
I thought
think it's
the
good.
numbers looked like they were really good throughout the week too. I mean, like
I think for the I think for Schuster's final, we had like 15,000 uniques and like 4,700 concurrent viewers.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't see the number. I did not see the numbers for the Tabitha Strauss game for the final.
Sure.
So I don't know those numbers, but
Yeah.
the numbers were good. Like even like the non-commentary games, sometimes Schuster was bringing in more numbers than the feature sheet was.
Interesting.
So, yes, I think there's a model out there for this to stream every sheet, and just give people more options to watch what they want to watch.
Yeah. And I mean,
Because once we're set up on every sheet, like the cost is already there.
yeah.
Sure.
The technology should still be becoming less expensive, right? Or is it?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah. The camera.
theoretically.
the cameras are getting better.
Yeah.
I think 5-6 years ago, this would have been 10 times harder than it is now.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
But the technology's catching up fast.
Okay.
I agree.
What else are we gonna talk about?
I don't know.
We should talk about my trip to Quebec.
We can.
Oh yeah, you won.
Yeah, you won the Quebec
I'm
International.
champion.
Yeah,
World
Quebec
champion of the
International
Quebec International
Bonspiel.
Bonspiel.
8-0.
8-0.
8-0.
So what's the Bonspiel called?
The Quebec International Bonspiel.
Okay.
It's now an open spiel, right? It
It's
used
now
to be
an
just a
open.
men's spiel.
Yes.
Many.
How many teams?
64. I think they maybe had somebody back out, one or two teams back out last minute, so I think it ended up being 62, but it played like it was 64. It was a strange format where you like had pools.
Mm-hmm.
There was like 16 4-team pools. You
Okay.
played everybody in your pool,
Okay.
and that was like ranking on points and ends, and like you got 2 points for a win, and
And like every point that you scored plus another point for like every end in
every
which
end you scored
yeah.
was a tiebreaker, whatever. And
Got it,
that's how they
got it.
seeded out the first like 16.
Okay.
And so then the top 16 teams all went into one of two brackets.
Okay.
And I don't even know if like all of the top 8 went in one bracket and the next 8 went in the other bracket, or if they just split them up between these two brackets.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you started playing out your like championship bracket, so to speak.
Okay.
And everybody in the whole spiel went into a bracket somewhere.
Got it.
And so there ended up being like 10 different brackets after the three
After your pool play.
after your pool play
Got it.
was over.
Got it.
And so then we won our first 2 games in our bracket, and that put us. We stayed in that bracket, but it also put us into a new bracket. It put us into a bracket that was now called the Grand Aggregate.
Okay.
And so there was only 4 teams in that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we won those 2 games in the brackets, and once we got into the bracket. So now we're playing in the championship of our bracket is our next game.
Okay.
And so that was our our Wednesday morning game.
Okay.
So this spiel starts on a Sunday and goes through Wednesday.
Okay.
But there's all kinds of festivities that start on Saturday. So
Got it.
we had to leave on Friday.
Got it.
It was a long trip.
I think I got a nosebleed you talking about this.
And
I got lost like
a couple brackets ago.
4 brackets ago.
So Wednesday morning we wake up and we play a game, and we did not get enough sleep on Tuesday night. And it was a rough morning for just about everybody, but our team was struggling. And we went out there and we played well.
Enough to win.
And we won that game, which meant we won our bracket.
Okay.
So we were the
aggregate bracket.
No,
champion?
that was no. We're not even into the aggregate
that's
bracket
like 4
yet.
brackets ago.
We're not in the aggregate bracket yet.
Come on, keep up.
We're in the Chateau Frontenac bracket. And so we won that in the morning, and then we had to play 2 more games in this grand aggregate bracket.
Jesus.
Well, we had to play 1, but if we would have lost, we'd have been done. So we played against these other people. We creamed them. So then we had a couple hours off.
Okay.
And we're like, all right, well, we got like 3 or 4 hours before our next game because we ended early.
Uh-huh.
Like, we should
nap.
We should nap. So we went back to the hotel, maybe had a little lunch, had a nap, went back to the club for the final of this grand aggregate bracket.
Okay.
And everything was going wrong. We weren't making shots.
Okay.
We had some rocks pick. We're just very low energy out there.
Okay.
And so in the 5th end, when we're losing 4-1 after 5.
Okay.
And I just walked off the ice and I went to the bar and I got a pitcher of beer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like somebody flipped a switch with our team. And we got that pitcher of beer out there.
Yeah.
And we just were amazing for the next couple, like
little bit of aiming fluid never hurt anybody.
Like we just
like Popeye with spin.
It was.
Right?
It was.
It's like the scene in Over the Top when he
a-
turns his hat from forward to back.
Yeah, we played a great end, and I had nothing had gone our way up to this point. We were lucky. Actually, guy had a shot in the 5th end that would have finished us, and he missed it. And he only got 1 instead of like 4.
Whoa.
And so now we walk in, get this beer, we go out, we play a great end. The guy on the other team makes a really good shot, so I only have a draw for 3.
Okay.
My draw for 3 picks, but we're still, we're in this game now.
So we got
at
2.
least. We're down.
Okay.
We got 2.
Right.
We're down. Down 1. We played another great end. We stole 2 more. Play the 8th. We're up 1.
So 8 end games.
8 end games.
Okay.
And I make a triple on my last shot of the game. So then he's forced to take 1. We play an extra end and we win. And it's 100% because we went and got beer in the 5th.
Mick Light? Mick Golden Light?
No, you're in Canada. They don't have that garbage.
Oh,
up there.
sorry. Oh, Molson. Maybe some Labatt's.
I think we maybe had some Sleemans. I think we were drinking Sleemans.
Wow. I'm not even familiar with Sleemans.
It's a solid beer. If you ever had
Okay.
I don't know that it's a thing in Western Canada, but it's definitely in Eastern Canada.
If you're ever in Quebec
Sleemans.
and you need a beer, get a Sleemans.
So then we won
Sleemans, if
our
you're
bracket, and we won this grand aggregate bracket. And we had these 2 super duper giant big trophies.
There's a great
that they let us touch for
12 seconds.
I was gonna say 30 seconds, and then we had to give them back.
Yeah.
And
there's a good picture. Maybe we can.
Why 2 trophies?
Because we won both. We won 2 brackets.
27 brackets or whatever.
And anyways, it was a good time. It was.
There's a good picture. Maybe we can get it for the YouTube.
Maybe we can.
YouTube.
It was a long spiel, but it was fun, and there was lots of socializing. It wasn't the greatest competition by any means, but
5 stars. What do you give it? 4.5. 4 3/4.
I'll give it a solid 4.
Solid 4. 4 stars. Would recommend.
Yeah, I'd recommend it. It's not an every year.
Not an every year,
but it's a
bucket list kind of spiel.
Yeah, sure.
Boom, love it.
Quebec City is beautiful.
I believe it.
Interesting fact about Quebec City: it is like the St. Lawrence River flows right past Old Town Quebec there.
Okay.
And I thought it was just like a river.
Okay.
But it turns out that you're so far northeast east there that it is basically part of the sea. And
Or
there's a
seaway.
yes, but like it's not a river anymore. It's tidal.
Oh.
Depending on what time of day,
Yeah.
the ice chunks, the giant ice chunks floating in the river will go one way or the other way.
Really?
And when I first saw this,
And is it so?
I thought that Solheim was full of shit, and he was lying to me. And he's like, "No, it'll go backwards. The next time you walk by, just wait." I'm like, "No."
So and it's saltwater then?
Maybe it's what do they call brackish?
Oh, okay.
But
Got it.
I'm not sure if it's salt. It might all be fresh still there.
Got it. Until
But
it
it's
gets to be
getting
part of
pushed
the
backwards at times.
Got it. Interesting.
It's probably fresh water on top and salt water.
Sure.
Maybe.
Double though.
But I can say that they must not have any concern about over salting because of the fact that anything that runs off will just go
sure.
there
Go
and
into-
then go
go
out
out
to the
into
ocean
the
eventually
ocean.
because every parking lot, every sidewalk, every
Yeah.
road had like 10 times more salt than I've ever seen in any other city anywhere I've ever been.
Nice.
And like that's kind of a big deal in Madison right now is where they're trying to reduce the salt usage
I think a lot of communities are trying to do that
in the
so,
wintertime, and there they do not care.
Got
I
it.
mean, they are just dumb.
whatever.
It's just it's crunchy with salt, not crunchy with like ice on the sidewalks,
It's
but
just-
everywhere
it's all salt.
crunchy
Got
with
it.
salt.
Got it. Very good.
So, anyways, that was my
Congratulations.
But thanks,
Congratulations.
Yeah. Way to go.
Dave Heller,
Perfect.
Dave Solheim, Dan Shalley was the team.
Yeah.
Shout
Fun.
out to them because they will listen to the show every once in a while.
Yeah. I bet that was a fun team. Fun time.
That does sound like a fun team.
Good times. Great oldies.
We had a good time.
All right. Do we have anything else? I don't have anything else.
I don't think so.
All right. Let's let everybody go home.
Yep.
Great.
All right.
You just want to do the outro.
Why don't you just keep going? Why are
just
we
keep
even
going.
stopping?
Just keep going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Stare at the camera and do the outro now?
Yes.
All right. That's it. Season 3, Episode 8. Thanks for tuning in to our national wrap-up. Congratulations to Schuster and Team Peterson. I am sure they will represent us well at the finals of the World Championships or whatever. I messed that up, but that's fine. If you want some cards, play ends, get in touch with the show. Curling Nation at curlingnetwork.com. We'd probably need some guests here coming up. Let us know who you want to hear from. Curling Nation at curlingnetwork.com. Otherwise, hit us up.
If we can get Joanne Courtney, we can get anybody.
Boom.
So,
Probably. We'll try.
Yep.
You know we're going to try. Facebook, Twitter, we're all out there. Find us. Find the show. Get in touch with us. Tell John Landsteiner. He'll tell us. We like John. Otherwise, I think that's it. Myself, Mike McDermott. Oh, thanks to Motus. Probably forgot them.
Craig.
Joel.
Out.